Doug.
And I'm Cathy.
And this is Maggie Mae taking a nap.
That's right, it's been a long day.
Join us as we follow the moon. Today, we are in what I think is probably one of our favorite cities. This is our second visit here, our first time on YouTube, with San Antonio, Texas. There is so much to see and do here, and we're going to show you some highlights of some favorites from our previous trip here, as well as a lot of things that we had never seen before this trip. So come along with us.
Thanks.
Now, kind of surprisingly to us, San Antonio is the 7th largest city in the United States, but it feels like a small town. People are very friendly, and one of the first places we went was the historic Market Square. And you talked about off to a friendly start.
It sure did.
Maggie had more people making over her there than I think I've ever seen. But on the weekends, it's set up like this with all of the vendors, and you name it, anywhere from produce to, I thought this was adorable, getting started on your bull riding skills. Hang on there. Oh, and down we go. But it's a great family entertainment spot. There are places in there that you can eat or drink, and
it makes you super happy.
Yeah, you aren't kidding. It is just such a great atmosphere. This is something that we didn't go to on our first trip in, so this was all new to us. But everything was decorated for Fiesta, and it was just fantastic. Now, like I said, this place is open on the weekends. There's on-street parking around it. There's parking lots around it. And get there early if you want to get a decent parking space, because it stays full the whole time. There's also right across the street the Plaza shops. Those may be open more than just the weekends, I don't know.
Probably.
Next up is the San Fernando Cathedral. This is one of the oldest cathedrals in San Antonio, and it has something very, very unique. At the entrances, it said the remains of the Alamo heroes are at the left entrance, and that's where they are. The remains were exhumed from over by the Alamo and brought here for Davy Crockett, of Travis, of many of the Alamo heroes. And what a beautiful, beautiful house of worship inside.
Yes.
Now, directly across the street is the old courthouse building, and in front of that is this called the Founders. And this is the original founders who traveled by foot and by wagon with their livestock 1,200 miles and settled the original village here, which later became San Antonio.
This was my favorite.
This one was a big surprise, I think, how much we enjoyed this. The Japanese tea garden is part of Brackenridge Park, 340-acre park that also includes the San Antonio Zoo. But this area is just incredible. It is free of charge and is definitely a place you want to come. They've got a nice little eatery there if you want to grab a bite to eat or to drink. The architecture is amazing, but you haven't seen anything till you've seen these gardens.
It's an old quarry pit.
Mm-hmm. And it was originally called the Japanese Gardens. If you noticed when we first showed you the first scene, it said Chinese Gardens. The name was changed during World War II because of the anti-Japanese sentiment. And back in the, I believe it was 1980s, the San Antonio City Council changed the name officially back to the Japanese Gardens. There are koi, there are ducks.
All kinds of little shrubs and trees and flowers.
And this was mid to late April, and everything was in bloom. Everything was beautiful. We used to have some of those growing around our sticks and bricks in Florida.
It's a wonderful stroll.
This to me just kind of epitomized San Antonio. Everything you see is colorful, seems to be very well kept, and this was extremely well attended. There were a lot of people there enjoying, taking pictures, and just enjoying being out in this.
The diversity of culture in San Antonio is just amazing.
It really is. And it seems as though everybody gets along very well.
Absolutely.
Love the waterfall there. Just beautiful. The bridges, the stonework. Definitely worth taking a nice leisurely stroll through. Now we did stop for a lunch at Taquitos West Avenue, and Taquitos West Avenue has a line out the door. I think any time of day you go. They do have indoor seating. You go up to the counter, and that is your choices. And that's your choices in English. And yes, you might want to rewind those and watch them again. But they're all corn tortilla, street tacos. Cathy had the El Pastor, which is the roast pork. I had the steak. They were absolutely out of this world.
Oh, they sure were.
Now, next up, we want to talk to you about the San Antonio Missions. The most famous one is the Alamo. The Alamo is located right downtown in the middle of San Diego.
San Antonio.
Thank you. And the first time I saw the Alamo, I was really surprised at the buildings that are grown up right around it. It's right in the middle of the town. But it was built in 1718, and it's mostly known not just for being a mission, but for the battle there. Over 150 people died in 1836 fighting for their independence from Mexico. And we had seen the Alamo on our previous trip, but we didn't realize at the time the Alamo is only one of 5 missions remaining in town.
Yeah.
Now it's got a beautiful statue out in front that has some of the heroes of the Alamo around the base of it. So we went and took a drive to the other 4. The one closest is Mission Concepcion. This is the one closest to where the Alamo is. There are 4 total. There are about 7 miles total that you can actually walk or bike to them using the Riverwalk. We took our car. You'll have the addresses here on the screen if you do want to go by car. We were traveling through there on a Sunday. They were actually having their Sunday service. And it amazed me going to these historic places and how well attended the Sunday service was there. I think that would be so neat. Some of the rooms have been restored to where you can see how they were originally painted. The next one was Mission San Jose. And this has been known as the Queen of the Missions. And it's the most complete and reconstructed. It has its full outer wall. This one was established in 1720. And the walled part of it is absolutely huge. It's enormous. And you can see where there were living quarters throughout the walled area. There were, I'm assuming, cooking furnaces, fireplaces out there around. And it is undergoing, the dome on the top is undergoing a restoration. That's why you see the scaffolding. But it's amazing to look at something like that that's at this point, over 300 years old, and see it standing there so proud. As you walk in, we walked in what would be the long side of the building, and the front of the church, everything is just beautiful. At the end of it is the actual entrance, and this is what you see from the end there.
And there was beautiful organ music going on.
There wasn't a service at the time, but it did really give you the feel of what it would be like. Now, as we travel south, we come to Mission San Juan. This one actually had irrigation put in, so a lot of this mission was designed for farming. Part of the wall remains on this one, part of it's gone, but it does give you again an idea as to the size and the scope of it. And this was beautiful inside. It appeared from the outside that it was going to be rather small, rather modest compared to a couple of the others.
Oh yeah.
And it was incredible. Now, we parked out in the front, but when you normally would come in back at the time that the mission was active, you'd come in back through entrance back on what's now the back corner of it, kind of the side entrance.
They actually had a gatekeeper that lived right there. You had to talk to him to be able to get into it.
This was a church that was being built there that only was partially completed, so that became the main center of worship. The last one is the Espada mission. This one was established in 1731. It's the southernmost one of the 5 missions.
And it was busy this day.
It was. This was actually the Sunday after Easter. They were having their Easter egg hunt and celebration that day. And I don't know if it was because of weather or if it's normally done the Sunday after.
And it was quite lively.
It was. And again, very beautiful inside. Very beautiful outside. Now this is what remains of the actual church there. It's just the outer foundation of it. But you can see the size of it. It was massive. And all the way along the back, which would have been the back of the wall and the quarters attached to it, still is standing there. There's even fireplaces inside some of the ruins there. Now it was time for a break. We went to Kunstler Brewing, and this one was a recommendation we had gotten, and it did not disappoint. It's in an older residential area, which is now kind of the up-and-coming arts and music area. Really neat interior. We stayed out on the front porch, but they also do have a beer garden along the side, which is full on the weekends.
And again, the diversity of San Antonio's culture.
Yeah, this one is kind of German themed. We both ended up with pastrami sandwiches. The Wednesday special when we were there was a German dish, and then they give you a list of all of their different brews, and these are all made on premises. We got a flight of 4, and the one furthest to your left is called Blueberry Strutzel, and it became our favorite in a hurry.
It was.
The other ones were all really good. We didn't have any that we didn't like, but the Blueberry Strutzel was so good that we had to take a growler home.
That's right.
Now, this is another weekend treat, the Pearl District. And the Pearl District is an old brewery district. There's a lot of old buildings, but they've all been renovated into living areas, apartments, condos, I'm not sure which, shopping areas, and on the weekends, Saturday from 9 to 1 and Sunday from 10 till 2, it comes alive with a lot of outdoor vendors, fresh produce, organic produce. It's just electric.
It was amazing. It really was.
The energy there was just amazing. There were street musicians.
All over the place.
And I love this area. This reminded me of when we were in Waco with the artificial turf down there, but everybody was enjoying it. A lot of the old brewery equipment, that was turned into a water feature back there.
There were different water features all over that were really enjoyable.
Yeah. And it's all located along the northern part of the Riverwalk also. And there were ducks out there enjoying their afternoon.
There were some turtles out there.
Now, as you go through it, there's some more of the equipment from the brewery. The main building of the San Antonio Brewing Company is now Hotel Emma. And this is the lobby of it. And they've left a lot of the brewing equipment in there. And one thing I couldn't get a good picture of because it was behind those glass doors, that was like a library back there. It was beautiful. Now, you've heard us mention the Riverwalk a few times. This is the main Riverwalk loop that's in downtown San Antonio. And anything and everything that you might ever want to do, you can do around the Riverwalk. It is the most peaceful oasis in the middle of a downtown I can imagine.
It's a great loop off of the main Riverwalk.
There are some bridges that will go across so you can get from one side to the other. We chose to walk the entire loop down to where it joins the main river, crossed, it came back all the way to the other end where it reaches the main river. And there's so many things to see and do on the Riverwalk that the Riverwalk isn't just the attraction, but it houses so many attractions to do as you walk through San Antonio. This is a good spot to get a long-term parking place and just walk.
Absolutely.
Just have
Spend
fun.
the whole day.
Now, there are water taxis. They'll take you a tour and give you the history of everything going on around the Riverwalk.
I've never seen me walk so fast.
It wasn't sped up either. This is Kallison Love Lock Bridge. This is just off the one end of the downtown loop. And it's said if you take a lock, it will lock your love forever. And there's a lock.
Leave a lock.
Yes. But they're all the way along both sides of the bridge. There was actually a couple that were just putting one on there as I was filming. And there you can see them. As we were coming around the Riverwalk, we came to Tower Life building. When this was built back in the 1920s, it was the tallest building west of the Mississippi River. And it was originally an island. The water was diverted into a area for development. Now, if the Arneson River Theatre looks familiar to you, It's because it was in Miss Congeniality. That was a very famous photographed site for that movie. The Riverwalk also goes right past the Briscoe Western Art Museum.
This was so neat.
This was just something we weren't even expecting as we were walking around. And it has a path that walks in through this. Again, all of this is free of charge. Lots of bronze statues in their little garden out here that all are tied to the Wild West. There's even some Western artifacts, a very famous saddle that is in the museum. You can even see the whip in detail.
Yes.
One of the most famous sites that you'll see on the Riverwalk is Casa Rio. And this river house has been known since the Riverwalk started. It's the oldest restaurant establishment in San Antonio. We had been there once before. We had to come back again. Maggie loves sitting there along the water watching the ducks. And it is the oldest restaurant on the Riverwalk.
Musicians will come up and ask you if you'd like some music.
Yeah, they have a strolling mariachi band. A huge menu. And there was one of the ducks that came up to see Maggie.
And there were birds that would slide on those
Umbrellas.
umbrellas over your head.
That's right. Started off with great salsa. Added a little bit of guacamole and some liquid refreshments.
And the food is fantastic.
It really is. Casa Rio is definitely a place to hit. And from our table, we were able to see this, the Torch of Friendship. And the Torch of Friendship is not all that old. It's less than 20 years old, but it's become kind of an iconic part of the San Antonio skyline. Now from up in that area, you can also look down on the Riverwalk, but even more iconic to the San Antonio skyline is the Tower of the Americas. Now there is a rotating restaurant up top. That's something that's still on the list for next time.
That's right.
That would be fun to go to because you can sit there, enjoy your meal as it turns, and you'll see all the different sides of San Antonio. So Cathy, what did you think of San Antonio?
I absolutely love this place.
It has been so friendly and welcoming, so beautiful. The weather's been wonderful. We were planning on coming into the city 3 days. We ended up coming in for 4. It has just been wonderful, and we hope you have enjoyed our time in San Antonio as much as what we have enjoyed bringing it to you. If you have enjoyed our video, please leave us a thumbs up. We do appreciate it. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so and ring that notification bell, and that way you'll know where all of our journeys take all of us together.
And thank you for following us as we follow the moon.
Thanks for watching today.
If you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel.
And be sure to ring the notification bell so you'll know when new videos come out.
Don't forget to follow us on social media too.